Candy, you have so many commitments that you juggled. We talked about you have your own manufacturer line, an academy, a salon. I mean, that has to be so time-consuming. So the question I have is, how do you manage all these commitments based on time?
Well, I think it probably sounds cliche when I say that I empower others to help me along the way. I know that that is a lot easier said than done. But one thing that I've always prided myself on is the power of no. Some of the best deals I ever made were the ones I didn't. Some of the things that I do in my life, I just have to balance out. I look at the pros and the cons, and I try to not suffer from FOMO that so many people do. You know, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss out. If I don't do this, I'm going to miss out. And I think things just fall into place when you trust it. And you just sort of trust the process, and you do what you love. So if I love to do, I'll give you my heart, I'll give you everything, I'll teach you everything I know. I'm the kind of person that gives with my hand down and not up. And I think people recognize that, so I can surround myself with a great team. I love to hire happy. I've got all these fabulous happy people right here that, you know, work so hard for a common goal and a mission. And I also realize that I can't go it alone. You know, you can't drag the rock up the mountain and push it over the side without help. And I know that if I didn't have great help and I wasn't able to work with my husband and my fabulous son and now his wife and all these wonderful people, that I'm really no more than, you know, you can't believe your own self. You know, you can't get into your own head thinking you're so amazing because you've got a salon and you've got a product line and you've got all those things. I mean, it took me 20 years to become an overnight sensation, Sam. And, you know, it's hard work. It's blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes, it is.
It's a lot of no sleep. It's a lot of airplanes and a lot of lonely nights. You know, it might not be crowded at the top, but sometimes it can be lonely there.
Yes.
You know, so I surround myself with fabulous people and friends that support each other. And I think stylists that support stylists, that's really the answer. The answer in life is when you support each other, you will get there.
Thank you for that, Candy.
Yeah.
I love what you're talking about love. It's so easy to say I love you, but what's most important is trust comes before love.
Absolutely.
And I really want to move over to Vivienne. Your love of the craft, and you're looking for me, aren't you, Vivienne?
I don't know where
He disappeared. He's over here.
The love of that you have for the craft, my dear, and your creativity and your teaching skills, your facilitation skills, and your technique, you are a master, my dear. So with so much diversity in education, there's so much out there that people can take classes, and there's a lot of offerings. What advice can you give to stylists when they're choosing to invest into their development of their technical skills?
That's a great question. I think you have to know the end result. Where are your strengths, your natural talents, and who's doing what you want to do right now, and how can you, first of all, mimic and then make it your own? And there are so many choices, but I think that, like, I have Hair Designer TV, which has 900 videos. So, yes, you can go there, but unless you recreate the look, you're just observing. I can watch a ballerina do a pirouette. Doesn't mean I can do one today. So I think the looking and the doing and the practice and the practice and the perfect practice is the most important thing of all. And I think you have to be mindful of where you learn, because when I started in the industry with your dad, it took a lot for me to qualify to be a member of Adele Sassoons. And then when we went out and taught, we were qualified to do that. Today you can self-publish. So you have to have caution about who you learn from. Is it the best of the best, and will they take you to where you want to go? And I'll give you a really quick example. I saw a genius hairdresser do 7 techniques on a fringe. Each technique was genius, but 7 on a fringe? And I thought, why do 7 when you can do 1? And what happened was it was overcut. And I thought, wow, does anyone know that that isn't necessarily the best methodology to get a soft effect when you could pick up the razor and do 1 technique and you're done? So be mindful where you learn. We all go to Instagram. We all love it. I do too. But that is not the place for learning. That's a place for me, for inspiration. And I heard a story the other day of a salon owner say that their stylist was struggling to do a hairstyle, and that the client said, hold on a moment, I've seen it on YouTube. Why don't you watch the YouTube video, then try it? And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so terrible for the client to say, well, watch the YouTube video, then do it for me. So I think we need to raise the bar.
Yes.
I think we need to be lifelong learners.
Hear, hear, Vivienne.
And be mindful who you learn from, because you will become what you look at. So raise your standards high and learn from the best of the best.
Thank you for that, Vivienne. Thank you so much for that. Eden,
Yes.
we know you have a salon, but I think something that surprises people, the fact that you also have a Pilates studio.
I do.
So what's interesting is the message relating to wellness. I want to talk about that a little bit. Why do you think it's important to have a healthy lifestyle? And how has the journey influenced your intent to help others?
Well, I think that that's, for me, self-explanatory. We're energy. We're all energy beings in this body that holds us, we hope, together. Now, what do we choose to do with that energy, and how do we live our days, and what do we put in our mouth, and what do we feed our mind? Because your mind and your spirit and your body are three different things. So your body could be going great, and your health and your spirit's okay, but if your mind isn't right, then you're off. And the other way around as well. So I think it's a lot more intricate and detailed than what we think. So what's the practice? I mean, your hairdressers, I saw my dad, every day he'd get up and swim. He would work out, and he'd eat healthy, and he'd do shakes. He was doing a lot before his time to get on the floor for 8 hours and create what he created. So there's got to be something in being an artist and yet treating your body and your mind as one as well, because I would think that being healthy and then creating what you create on a head of hair is fascinating to me. But if you're smoking and you're drinking and you're eating like crap and you're filling yourself with you're tired, exhausted at the end of the day, you can't actually sit and be any type of artist in the way that I would imagine that you want to be. So being, sound mind, healthy body, spiritually open and growing is absolutely everything, I think, that will be specific to hairdressing or to just the beauty industry. It's essential, and to where we want to be, and to keeping those standards really high. I think that part of living the lifestyles that people live, it's sort of make us mediocre.
Thank you for that, Eden. And what's so important is, in today's world, is so fast-paced. In today's world, that's so important for us as hairdressers, standing on your feet all day and being the so-called psychologists that we might be. So thank you for doing what you are doing for us. Larisa, you've built a great following on Instagram, my dear. A great following on Instagram. I follow you myself, and you share a message online is very organic. I love how you're just yourself. We've seen how social media has disrupted the industry. Some people look at that as positive, and some people look at that as negatives. So what do you think are the good and bad influencing factors of social media and how it's impacted education?
Well, not only impacting education, but impacting people as their personal lives as well. The good, obviously, is that we can showcase our work so easily now. It is free advertisement with a click of a button. I would say 99% of my clientele is from social media, specifically from Instagram. The bad is that one, like Vivienne was saying, how people can just kind of post their own little techniques and then think like that's the way to do it, and then they'll try, and then they won't be able to recreate it because you're not learning from the right people. But also another bad is I feel like a lot of people just only post the good things about their lives, and it makes them seem like they have the most perfect lives. They're always traveling, and they're on an island with a long iced tea in hand, when in reality, let's be real, you've been on a plane, you're exhausted, you're in the airport, And that's what I love to post about my social media, on my Insta stories. I like to put the good, the bad, and the ugly, And I always say, I'm always like, waiting at the airport. I feel like I'm living in planes. Like, I want people to see, like, it's not all glitz and glam all the time. And it's really important just to be authentic and just showcase who you truly are. Because when people meet me, I love when they say, wow, you're actually the same person that I thought that you would be from your social media. And I think that's really important for everyone to showcase themselves that way. The same person that they are on social media and the same person that they are offline and online.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Larisa. Tracey, you've had some personal health issues. You've had some professional issues. And I think we all go through things like that. And what is amazing is you continue to travel the world. You continue to be a great educator. You're now into public speaking. You're even speaking outside of the industry.
Yes.
You know, what advice can you give when it comes to staying positive and, most importantly, reinventing yourself?
That's a really great question, Sam. So I believe a lot of us go through challenges in life. Would you all agree? Yes?
Yes, yes.
Whether it's personal or professional. And the most important advice I ever give to anyone is to stay present in the moment. You know, pretty much life is about living now. Whatever's happened in the past is really just stories to share as part of your experience. And the future is really an opportunity waiting to happen. So I believe very much staying present in the moment. And no matter what curveballs you get thrown at you from a personal perspective or a business perspective, it is always about reinvention, because that's where your growth is going to come from. And that's why I'm such an avid believer in education, because through education, it is very transformational. And our industry gives us so many opportunities to be able to grow in many different paths. And as Sam said, I've been exceptionally fortunate that I have traveled extensively around the world with education. I've become a certified speaking professional, and I work with a lot of women's groups in business on leadership and empower them to live the lives they want to live. And I believe a lot of that has come through some of the challenges that I've personally gone through. I've been epileptic my whole life, so I've certainly dealt with that health challenge constantly, and I actually now am exceptionally comfortable to talk about it. Like Larisa's saying, how to be your authentic self, and you can tell with all the ladies here, we're all very open with what we share as well. And many years ago, I would never talk about my epilepsy with anyone, because it was just something that I kept very private to myself, whereas now I kind of go, well, if I have a seizure on stage, it's just like I'm doing a new dance. But the one thing it's done for me is it's made me very resilient, because I very much have that attitude that, if I do happen to go unconscious, there is that element that I may not regain consciousness again. And that teaches you innately, without you realizing a lot of the time, that you have more strength than what we realize. We're all resilient. That's what life is there for. It's to give us challenges, to push us, to keep us growing. So as much as we can grow as a stylist, it's very much about growing as an individual as well. So staying present in that moment and living your life with gratitude is probably the strongest message I could probably share with you today.